not everything is perfect. We are constantly reminded about how fleeting our lives are. We are constantly reminded about how short our time on this planet is. And yet, so many people expect us to constantly feel happy throughout our lives. It is natural for us as human beings to search out comfort in everything we do. And yet, something deep down tells you that you need to seek discomfort. Something deep down in your mind is telling you that you need to work harder. It's telling you that you aren't doing enough. And it's telling you that you are a failure. And so when people tell you that you should seek happiness, when people tell you that you have all these reasons to be happy for the things that you have in your life, the only thing you can think of is, I'm not doing enough, I need to work harder, and I don't feel happy. And that is the purpose of this video that I wanted to make, is why do we feel like happiness is impossible? Why am I not happy? And I want to go over some of the reasons why that both I have found reasons to not be happy, and maybe you as well watching this video. I think that happiness is purely a subjective thing, and I really do think that there's a unique population of people out there that have that voice in their mind that is telling them that they aren't working hard enough, that voice that is telling them that they could always do more and that they are a failure. And if you are one of those people, like I believe I am, it's very easy to find yourself in a constant spiral of working hard, never picking up your head, and just constantly battling an uphill battle. So the number one thing I want to mention is life is not perfect. Nothing in the universe, nothing in life is going to be perfect. And so if you're one of those people that is constantly trying to work harder and trying to do better, you have to understand that no matter how good you do, no matter how much effort you put in, life is not perfect, and that's not your fault. It's just the way that life was created to be. Another thing I want you to remember, that life may not be perfect, but you are not your mistakes. We all make mistakes. We are human. That is a part of our basic human nature, is that we make mistakes and we learn from them and we adapt. But making those mistakes does not mean that that is all we are as human beings. We are creatures and we are beings that learn from those mistakes and adapt and become better as individuals from those mistakes. We are not defined by those mistakes. So if you take away anything from this video, I want you to remember that we are not our mistakes. We make mistakes. It is human. And what makes those mistakes so important are if we can learn from them and we can adapt and change our decisions based on them. Now, I know it might feel like you are constantly working hard. You are constantly ignoring your problems. You are constantly overworking yourself, possibly, to just get that voice in your head to stop telling you to work so hard. You just want the voice in your head to be satisfied with the work that you've put in. And I believe that that's impossible. I really do think that if you are one of those people that have that voice in their head telling them to keep working, telling them to keep doing more, I really do think it's impossible to get that voice to fully go away. Now, in my own experience, I've gone through years of self-improvement, years of working and just distancing myself when it comes to my social life or friends or anything like that. And I've just focused on self-improvement and getting better in every aspect and not picking up my head. And I've gone through those periods where that voice is never ending. I feel like I could always be working on something else and doing better. But like I said, I really don't think that voice can ever fully go away. Now, in my life today, I feel like I have a lot better grasp on my effort when it comes to different projects or anything like that. And I definitely think I have a lot more balance, I guess you could say, when it comes to these projects and my effort towards each thing individually. But the voice is still there. And if you are that person that has that same voice that I'm mentioning, just understand that it's something that you learn to live with. You might not always be overdoing it, and that's something that you'll come to live with. You'll come to understand that that voice is always going to be there, and you learn to adjust and still put in proper effort, but without overdoing it. You'll learn that fine line that keeps the voice there, keeps you motivated, but you're no longer distancing yourself and sacrificing things that you should not be sacrificing, like your social life or like your health. Anything like that, those are very important. And if you're someone that constantly feels like they aren't doing enough, the one thing I recommend you do is start prioritizing your health and your social network. And if you don't think you have one, I promise you, you do. There's someone out there that is close to you and close enough to you that you can kind of bring them into your social network. I want you to prioritize that. Prioritize your health and your social network, and that will allow you to diminish the volume on that voice in your head. It'll allow you to understand that even though you can stay motivated and you can work hard towards those goals that your brain is telling you you need to achieve, you can still calm down those voices a little bit and allow yourself to have a healthy life and a happy life with that social network. The third thing I want to go over is that question that we always ask ourselves. Why am I not happy? Why can I do all these things in my life that everyone says should make me happy, and yet I just don't have that feeling of enjoyment from achieving them? And this, in my opinion, comes in part from that voice that's in your head, is no matter how great of an achievement you accomplish from your motivation, you're always going to be in that headspace of feeling like there's a next step. For me, when it came to losing 50 plus pounds and actually getting in the best shape of my life, people were telling me how amazing it was. People were telling me how great it was that I changed my life like that. And yet the only thing on my mind was, how can I look better? Or when it came to getting a new job or getting into college or anything like that, the only thing on my mind was the next step, was graduating college, was getting a better job, was making more money, and like I said, getting a better physique when it comes to the gym. And so all these aspects in my life where people acknowledge that you achieved a goal and tell you how amazing you should feel, it's just something that really doesn't exist for people that have that voice in their head. Now, there are definitely moments where you can reflect and calm down and actually realize what you've done is a big achievement, but no matter how well you do at reflecting and acknowledging that achievement, it's very short-lived. I know people that can stay proud of an achievement for months on end, regardless of what that achievement is. But that's honestly something that I don't believe I've ever felt. There's pretty much nothing in my life that I can say with confidence that I'm proud that I achieved that for longer than maybe 1 week. And after that week, like I said, it's on to the next thing. It's on to the next achievement. What can I do more? What can I continue to improve on? And so that question of why am I not happy? I think it's a question that we can all ask ourselves, and as many times as we ask ourselves that question, the answer never comes to mind. I think we find happiness when life just happens. Now, that might sound weird, it might not make sense, and it honestly doesn't even make sense to me in the moment that I'm saying this. But happiness comes from life. Happiness is a part of life. Just like sadness is, just like fear and anxiety, just like all those horrible emotions are a part of life, so is happiness, so is excitement. All the emotions that human beings have ever felt is a part of what we like to call life. And so naturally, when you ask yourself the question of why am I not happy, it's not something that you can have the answer to. You might be able to say, oh, I'm not happy because of this bad thing that's happening, or I'm not happy because I don't have this thing. But in reality, the experience of sadness, the experience of being happy, the experience of achieving something, all these emotions that we have during our short time on this earth can only be achieved through life. These feelings can only be achieved by things happening, by being in the moment of these feelings. And so when something horrible happens to you, like say you lose a loved one, you are in the moment of sadness. You are in the moment of grief. But asking yourself the question of why am I sad, the answer almost isn't as simple as you lost a loved one. It gets so much deeper than that, in the sense of you're sad because you no longer have their presence. You're sad because of all the memories you've made. You're sad because of all these different things. And so the simplest answer to the question of why am I feeling this emotion can just simply be answered by the event or the experience that you're going through in the moment. So if you find yourself wondering, why am I not happy? I challenge you to just take a step back and live in the moment for a period of your life. Try living in the moment as much and as often as you can, and you're going to start to realize that you're more in tune with the emotions when they're happening. You no longer need to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Or why am I not feeling this way? Questions like that are so pointless, and knowing the answer to that, if it was a simple answer, is not going to solve your problem. But what I think will solve the problem at hand is just understanding that all emotions are short-lived, no matter if they're good or bad. And if we can all focus on living in the moment a little more, whether that's a good moment or a bad moment, I really do think that living in the moment more will help us feel a sense of resolution when it comes to those emotions. If you focus on your life and you focus on the moments that you're living, you are going to feel so much more relieved when you have a good moment. You will no longer wonder, why am I not feeling happy in those sad times, if you've experienced an emotion and a memory of an event that made you happy. For example, when I got a job offer about a week ago, living in that moment and having that feeling, that relief of happiness and just everything, my anxiety was lowered. All that feeling I had in the moment allows me to no longer need to ask myself the question of why am I not happy? Because when I have those dark times where maybe life isn't amazing, I understand that everything's short-lived. Everything only feels that way in the moment. You only have that feeling when something's happening. So that is kind of what I want you to touch base on. Understand that living in the moment, living and being in touch with your feelings is a lot easier than you think. Just focus on why you feel certain ways when certain things happen, and you'll no longer need to ask yourself the dumb questions of why am I feeling that emotion. I think you're gonna know why you're feeling each emotion. And I know a lot of this might have felt like a rant, but it really just was a video that was created for people that can't find happiness in their day-to-day life, or it's a little bit harder for them to find happiness in their day-to-day life. Whether they overwork themselves, whether they feel like they constantly have pressure on them to achieve more, or whether they just feel like they don't know why they are sad, or they don't know why they aren't happy. If you're one of those people that has that voice in their head that is pushing them harder than it needs to, and you're just wondering, when is it going to stop? When am I going to feel happy? The shortest answer I can give you is life is not perfect. We are not perfect. All things are short-lived, and we are not our mistakes. Just be okay with everything not being okay. And that's what I want to end this video on. Be okay with not being okay. And I think life will start to come together in ways that you could have never imagined. Be okay with not being perfect. Be okay with the effort you're putting in the moment, and just take life one step at a time. You are not unique in that life is hard. Everyone knows that life is hard. Now, some people's lives might be worse than others in the technical definition of the word, but we are all going through the same thing that we call life. Where the sun rises, the sun sets, the weather changes, the date on the calendar changes. We experience emotions regardless of if they're positive or negative. We are all going through life. And so just understand that nobody's perfect. We are all going through life, and it's okay to not be okay all the time. If you enjoyed today's video or you resonated with it at all, feel free to hit that subscribe button and follow along for more videos like this in the future. I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing, so I really appreciate any feedback in the comment section down below, and just keep grinding, keep working hard every single day towards your goals, and make people remember your name. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.